Nobody 2 is an action thriller directed by Timo Tjahjanto of ultra-violent Indonesian action films Headshot, The Night Comes For Us, and The Shadow Strays in his English language debut. The movie serves as a sequel to 2021's Nobody. Derek Kolstad of John Wick fame and Aaron Rabin wrote the script. David Leitch of Atomic Blonde, Bullet Train, and John Wick fame serves as producer. After the events of the first movie, we learn that assassin Hutch Mansell, played once again by Bob Odenkirk of Better Call Saul fame, is owned by his former government handler, the Barber, played by Colin Salmon, who bought Hutch's debt after he chose to burn a Russian mafia's stock of money. In a bid to save his relationship with his wife Becca, played by Connie Nielsen of Gladiator 2 fame, and his children, a burnt-out Hutch plans a family trip to an amusement park called Plummerville, the last place he felt happy as a child, where wackiness ensues. The director of the first entry, Ilya Naishula, couldn't return to the director's chair due to his directing responsibilities to the action comedy Heads of State, starring John Cena and Idris Elba. The movie was shot in Winnipeg. The movie has gone on to gain a Rotten Tomatoes rating of 76%, with the critical consensus stating, while frumpy action hero Hutch Mansell tries to enjoy a nice vacation, Bob Odenkirk works overtime to make Nobody 2 a diverting sequel that measures up admirably to the original. The movie has made a worldwide box office total of $14 million off of a budget of $25 million. So Marisa, what did you think of Nobody 2?
Well, I remember thinking Nobody 1 was okay, and this is pretty much the same film, except his family and the audience know that he's a lethal assassin, whereas the first one we didn't know that, and neither did his family. So we were discovering more about him and his life and his family in the first one, whereas this is just everyone knows everything, so let's just go on vacation and meet some people we don't like and ultra-violence follows. So it's less interesting in that regard because we already know the secret. So it means that what you get is, frankly, a very forgettable action film. It's got some interesting sequences. Bob Odenkirk is very likable, but it's just ultra-violence with a story that's strung together to make it a story. It does make more sense than, say, the other action films that we've watched recently. What was that one with Jason Statham, that one?
That one, do you mean like his career?
Yeah, any of those. Well, the most recent one that made no sense. There were so much in it that made no sense. This at least makes complete sense, and it's pretty easy to follow exactly what's going on because it's not a tricky story. It's just this happens, this happens, this happens, and he beats everybody up. And then that's it. I've almost forgotten I saw it and it was only a few days ago.
Spoilers.
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't know. Did you find more in it than that? Because I certainly didn't.
I could not remember the first one. So usually I don't like movies that have to flash back to the previous entry, but I appreciated this one doing that. And I completely forgot that the family knew that he was an assassin. But that being said, this actually works on its own. You don't need the first entry because it's a different director anyway and different flavour. I found myself really enjoying this one, especially coming out of Bride Hard last week.
This does work better.
Yes, because it's not about the plot or the story, it's the language of the action, and you do follow it. And it's brutal. I mean, this new director, he's made some choices that's a little bit more comedic. It's like we were talking about last week, is hyper violence. And in doing that, it's comedic as well because you find yourself grimacing to the blood and the broken bones. But the way it's captured is like John Wick. It's like a comic book. It's like a graphic novel. So great framing, neon lighting comes back in again, and they really use the environments around them for some fun action sequences. In an amusement park, on a duck boat, and all this sort of stuff. And they use everything around them, and it's a bit like watching a Jackie Chan movie. Because, Bob Odenkirk, he's this everyday guy who doesn't want any trouble. But, and I can't remember if this was in the first movie that much, but in this one, he just can't let things go. he finally starts to acknowledge that, and that's why he needs to go on vacation. He has to calm down. He has to sort of soothe this raging beast that's inside him, which again, you don't need the first one. You can just see him as a stereotypical suburban dad, a bit like in American Beauty. He's got just this pent-up rage that he unleashes every now and then in a righteous way. And so if there's a fight to be had, he can't ignore it. He sort of unloads all that on these people. Here also we get a bit of a generational look, in passing of the torch down, fathers and their sons and grandfathers. That's the weakest element here because we've got Christopher Lloyd here as the granddad. I can't remember if he was in the first one, but that sort of plays into it. And so also looking onto your childhood with rose-tinted glasses, going back, and you can't go back home. This shows that. Going back to this beautiful amusement park from his childhood and finding out, oh, has this gone to hell or has it always been like this? Which I thought was a little bit fun. And so there's all those points in the script and that's where they work from. And again, this is sort of the standard for comedy action thriller that Brideheart didn't get close to getting to. And this is it from the guys who did John Wick. So you need to do your homework before you can even tackle it. Odenkirk, he popped in a lot of training for this role. And I was there watching this thinking, gosh, he doesn't look like he can do any of this, but there he is doing it. And it made me think, is it easier to train an actor to do this than it is to train a stunt guy to act?
Probably.
I guess so, because I really miss the days where we've got really good action heroes, but they get their B movies out, and then the same types of action choreography teams go off and get hired to train up Keanu Reeves and Lawrence Fishburne. And so I guess, The Matrix is the template to do that. But yeah, Odenkirk, there are moments in here that I didn't even think of. Is it him or is it a stuntman? He pulls it off.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can tell by looking at him that he's fitter than he is on, say, Better Call Saul. Like, he's clearly fit, but they dress him and he behaves like just the regular dad, which is the whole point of the whole I'm nobody. He's just the regular dad that no one pays attention to, but it turns out he is not a regular tourist. I'm
on vacation.
He's got special set of skills. So they dress and he behaves as if he doesn't have that ability. So he's not carrying himself like someone who has this skill and this fitness and this strength. And that's why I think when he actually starts doing stuff, you're a bit surprised because he is hiding it. And that's on purpose. I'm sure of it. I wasn't even thinking about whether there was a stunt. I figure all the goons were all stuntmen.
Yeah.
Because they're all throwing themselves everywhere. So
they were selling it.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Liam Neeson had a complete career resurgence playing this brawling, Dirty Harry type. And it's just amazing what editing and stunt choreography can do. We've got a bit of a conspiracy here. We've got a bit of a hierarchy of criminal underlords and gangs and things. And we've got a surprise turn by quite a well-known star. Do you think we needed that addition? I was quite happy with Colin Hanks.
Look, it adds story when there is little, so why not?
That being said too, that's a fair point. This was an hour and a half compared to the previous movie, which was 2 hours. And you couldn't do more with this.
No, it needed to finish where it finished. There was no more story.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, did you laugh?
A couple times, but I think there were probably more laughs in there that didn't land for me. But then I'm not really the target audience for this kind of film. So there were possibly you. People who are into action movies and who are a bit older than most stars of action movies who are in their 20s, whereas Bob is in his 60s. He's 62. So, yeah, I think there's probably more humour in it than I found in it.
Comparing this to Ballerina, though?
Oh, this is much funnier than Ballerina. Ballerina, I fell asleep in. It was so boring. This, at least, the sequences aren't too long, the action sequences. There are lots of them. They are really ultra-violent, but they don't go forever. And Bob Odenkirk is very likeable. So he's doing his bit, he's playing his character, he's dry as, and you're enjoying that, and then they move along. They keep it moving so that it doesn't ever get dull.
Yeah, it doesn't overstay its welcome.
Yep.
When there is uber violence, it makes its point, and then we get the afterglow. We get the after effects. We're off getting scolded by the family, or we're off in a police station.
For me, the best action sequence is the one where the camera stays outside the building for the whole thing. That was great. That was funny. That was good.
Yeah, and that's a very James Gunn thing to do. So very comedic. Halfway through this, I was thinking of that great flamethrower sequence in Ballerina.
Oh, yeah.
Only because there was some fire bits going on screen. But yeah, apart from that sequence from that movie, that's all I can remember. Here, this is National Lampoon's Violent Vacation. And so they've done some really clever, tricky, funny things with the scripts, which I appreciated. Digging these things from 1980s comedies. I mean, even one reviewer referenced Colin Hanks's character to another character in Porky's, for example.
Oh, goodness.
So it's making commentary on all those 80s movies, and like the adventure itself, makes a point in it and then carries on. So again, a little bit nostalgic, but putting a pin in it. So Marissa, how many pinkies out of 5 are you going to give Nobody 2?
Look, this isn't really directed at me. I'm not the target audience. So for me, it's a very thin story. There's some action sequences in it. Some of them are interesting. Some of them are less interesting. I don't find fight choreography very interesting. But that said, I like dance movies. So it's just not targeted at me. It's not my kind of thing. I'm going to give it 2.5. It's okay. I didn't dislike it, but I didn't love it. But anybody who loved the first one, anyone who likes that kind of just over-the-top action movie, I think will really like it because it is well shot. It is decently performed. There's not a lot of story, but that's not what you're there for.
I loved it. I was so surprised.
I knew you would.
I liked it better than the first one.
Really?
Yeah, with Bob Odenkirk. I usually don't like his screen presence because his voice gets to me. It's like this raspy, wet voice.
Oh, I love Better Call Saul. I think it's better than Breaking Bad.
See, I can't watch Better Call Saul because that's too close to home. I had to stop that at a certain point.
Okay.
But I really enjoyed him here. Like I said, it's actually a really clever script for what they do. And it looks great. Again, it's just out of the world of John Wick. These beautiful neons, not afraid to shoot at night. And so, we get some really great night shots. There's a ninja in here. So there's a lot of fun to be had. I think your cowboy-loving granddad or your dad is going to like this. And just the action comedy, we'll get the youngins in as well. Our legacy star, I don't think they needed to be included in this entry. They could have been saved for a further one and have that movie match their tone because they're a little bit too cartoonish. But overall, it surprised me. I had a really good time. So, yeah, I'm going to say 4 pinkies out of 5 for me.
Wow. Okay. That's amazing. Cool.
Yeah. And that's about it from us at the Movie Club. Thank you for joining us once again. Make sure you tune at the same time and channel next week. But in the meantime, jump on to www.themovieclub.net for all of our past podcasts and written reviews. There you find links to our Facebook page, Twitter, Spotify, and YouTube account. So make sure you like, subscribe, and follow us there. See you next week.